Here we are in section 8-5 with numbers 12 through 14 and their solutions. It says graph the hyperbolas and find the foci. Now, recall that hyperbolas are evidenced because we have a negative in front of one of the x squareds or the y squareds. Looks like this one has an x squared and that one has a y squared, which cause things to shoot off to infinity and give us imaginary solutions when we try to find intercepts. So we only have to label 2 points, but we have to find the asymptotes and we have to find the foci. So alrighty, let's do it. Number 12. Notice if we stick in x as 0, if x is 0, this term goes away and we get y squared over 576 equals 1. So square root of 576, y is plus and minus 24. So that gives us points on number 12. We get 0, 24 and 0, negative 24. So we just stuck in 0 for x, and these are the numbers that have to work. Square root of 576 to make that come out to equal 1. Now if we stick in 0 for y, you'll notice that we get something kind of weird. If we stick it in here, that goes away, and we get negative x squared over 49 equals 1. So if you times by 49, negative 49, we get x squared equals negative 49. That's a 7i, positive and negative. These are imaginary. These are not part of our solution. So when we look at this, 0, 24, we'll put him way up here. 0, negative 24, those are the 2 points on our graph. These are like imaginary. I'm going to draw it with a little circle around here, open circle, and I'm going to remind us that those are not points on our graph. So our graph is actually here, but what it does help us do is draw this little box. Let's draw the box there. And what it means is that that box is what allows these asymptotes to be drawn. If I could draw straight lines. So that's how we get the graph. We only have 2 points on them, but these things shoot off towards those asymptotes forever. So those are our 2 points. Now let's find our foci next. The foci are right back here behind the curves. And if we recall, this distance right here to the foci is the same as the hypotenuse of the box. So it just like flips down there. So you'll notice we have a right triangle here where this is 24 and this is 7 and this is the distance to the foci. So 24 squared plus 7 squared equals the distance to the foci squared. It's the same as that distance of the hypotenuse there. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we get 576 plus 7 squared is 49 equals f squared. That's 625 equals f squared, square root, and f is plus or minus 25. So the distance up to this focus is 25. So 0, 25, and then the same distance going down to the bottom. 0, negative 25. So here are the foci. Those are 2 points. And then the final thing, it says label the asymptotes. These asymptotes are, well, they're lines. And so let's write it here. I'm going to draw it as a solid line in this new color and show that I'm going to do that. It has a slope of up 24 over 7. And that's the other help with the box, is that it will always, since you're going from the center to the top of the box, these numbers, the one of them imaginary, but still giving us that distance that we need. Slope is 24 sevenths. And the other one is a slope of negative 24 sevenths. So now we have y equals 24 sevenths x plus b, and we know it goes through that center circle 0, 0. So that is the asymptote going up, and the other one is y equals negative 24 sevenths x is headed down. And really why this is helpful is you can stick in points such like x is 10 or x is 20 or x is 30 and then compute this whole thing. But this asymptote means we're getting closer and closer to just sticking in this line. If you stick in a 10 here, boom, there's your y value. That's very, very close to what you would be. All right, let's do number 13. It says x minus 2 squared over 25 minus y plus 6 squared over 144 equals 1. All right, so can we see that it's just like number 12, except it was moved, the center, and let's write this up here. The center is 2 to the right and 6 down. So I'm going to circle that and put the little star thingy around it. Yeah, there we go. So 2, negative 6. I'm going to mark it right here. That's not a point on our graph, but that is the center of everything. So if we get that, we can kind of ignore these guys for just a minute and just do everything with reference to 2 and negative 6, because it's just like it was x squared over 25, y squared over 144, and then it was moved over 2 down 6. All right, so if we eliminate the y's with 0, it's actually with a negative 6, but if we eliminate those, then x squared over 25 equaling 1, x has to be a plus and a minus 5, and those are real numbers. So we go up 5, 7, negative 6, and down 5, negative 3, negative 6. These are our real things, our real points on the graph. So 7, negative 6 is here, and negative 3, negative 6 is there. So those are real points on our graph. I marked them with solid circles. Now for the other one, if we eliminate the x, we're technically sticking in a 2, but if we eliminate that with a 0, this negative sign means we get plus and minus 12i, just like we had over here with the 7i. So I'm going to do on the y, we go plus or minus 12i. Now that means we go up 12, but it's imaginary. So we go up 12 and there's a little circle right there, and we go down 12 and there's a little circle there. Remember, those are not part of the graph, but they do help us because we can use this to create the box. Okay, here are the lines. Good. And then here are our real points, and head off to the asymptote. So this is a big fat one, it looks like. Yeah, there we go, like that. So that's all there is to it, is follow we get 2 points of it, and then we follow those asymptotes. Well, we still need to find the foci. Let's go to orange and find the foci. So again, this distance right up here will fall down, and that's where the foci, back behind the curves, back out there. So let's draw this, and we know this is a 5 here. That is a 12, even though that was kind of our imaginary point there. So F is that distance. So we go 5 squared plus 12 squared equals F squared. 25 plus 144 equals F squared. F squared equals 169. So F is going to be plus or minus 13. So yeah, we go backwards 13 from our center point, and we get negative 11, negative 6. So I went back 13 from 2, and then we go up 13, and we have 15, negative 6. So these are the foci. All right, and the last part, we've got to get the equation of these two lines. So we're going to be doing y equals mx plus b. Notice that 5, 12 gives us the slope of our line. So we have slope is 5/12, and the other one is a slope of down 12 over 5. So negative, I did that backwards. Let's go back and do that. I'm sorry about that. Rise over run, 12/5, and then the slope is negative 12/5. I apologize. So this one is going to be y equals 12/5 x plus b. Now remember, we don't know what the b is. Here we were lucky. It went through 0, 0, so the b was 0. Here we've got to go through. We know we're going through that one point, which is 2, negative 6. So we get negative 6 equals 12/5 times 2 is 24/5 plus b. So b equals negative 30/5 minus 24/5 is a minus 54/5. So this answer out here is, we'll write it right up here, y equals 12 fifths x minus 54 fifths. That's this asymptote. Now the other one with the negative 12 fifths, y equals negative 12 fifths x plus b. Let's stick in 2, negative 6 plus a b, and this is negative 30 fifths now plus 20 fifths, and it becomes a negative 6 fifths. So b equals a negative 6 fifths. So then our other asymptote is y equals negative 12 fifths x minus 6 fifths. Woo! So these are actually the things that we need: the 2 points, the foci, and the asymptotes. But it takes a lot of work to get there. All right, let's clear this off and do number 14. It looks like a big one. All right, number 14. You'll notice these aren't in perfect square notation, so we have to work on that. 16 x squared plus, take a 16 out of 128, and that is an 8x. Leave a space. Factor out a negative 9, and we're left with y squared plus 10y. All right, there we go. Oh, equals 113. Okay, complete the square. Half of 8 is 4, squared is 16. So we're actually adding 16 times 16 as a real number onto this side. So we're adding 256 over here. Then on this one, we have to half 10 is 5, plus squared is a 25. So that means we're actually adding negative 9 times 25 is a minus 225 on this side. Oh, good. So this becomes, let's write all this out. We get 16 times x plus 4 altogether squared minus 9 y plus 5 altogether squared equals, and this becomes, using our handy dandy calculator, 113 plus 256 minus 225 is 144. Now get it equal to 1, divide everything by 144, and if there's any justice in the universe, yes indeed, that cancels with that. 16 times 9 is 144, so we get, let's write it out here, x plus 4 squared over 9 minus y plus 5 squared over 16 equaling 1. All right, so can we identify our center point? Yes, indeed we can. The center point is going to be a negative 4, negative 5. Let's circle that and note that everything we do will reference negative 4, negative 5, and then we can kind of forget about these guys for just a minute. So negative 4, negative 5, put him right there. That's going to be our center point, and that'll help. Then let me see, if we let y be 0 or knocked out at the negative 5, the x then goes plus or minus 3. So we get negative 7, negative 5, and negative 1, negative 5. Those are two real points on our hyperbola. Now, if the x gets knocked out, the y goes plus or minus 4i. So let's write that over, plus or minus 4i. So these guys, we go all the way up to here, and it's an open circle, and down here it's an open circle. And so let's draw this box. Now remember, the box is good because it allows us to go right through those corners, take our real points and shoot them off. That's all there is to graphing it. Take the real points, shoot them off towards the asymptote, curves up closer and closer to it forever. All right, let's do the foci. Foci are this hypotenuse right here, falling down, and will be right there and right there. So we know that this is 3 and the height is 4, and so the foci, we get 3 squared plus 4 squared equals f squared. So it's the hypotenuse of that right triangle to the corner of the box. So we get 9 plus 25, that's, 9 plus 16 is 25, is f squared. F is plus or minus 5. So go 5 up, and you get 1, negative 5. And 5 down, you get negative 9, negative 5. Indeed, and those are the foci. Okay, whew. These get to be some long problems. Final thing, we need to find these asymptotes. Notice that the slope is going to be 4/3. That's up 4 over 3, like that. So when you find out these asymptotes, slope is 4/3, so we get y equals 4/3 x plus b. And the xy that we know it goes through is the center point, our star point, -4, -5. So we get -5 equals negative, stick -4 in there, we get -16/3 plus b. Add 16/3 on to -15/3, and we get b is a positive 1/3. So one of our asymptotes is y equals 4/3 x plus 1/3. And the final asymptote, the one going down, that's a negative 4/3 slope. So we get y equals -4/3 x plus b. Stick in -5 and -4. We get a positive 16/3 plus b. Subtract 16/3. -15/3 minus 16/3. B is -31/3. So y equals -4/3 x minus 31/3. Asymptotes, foci, points. Let's circle that. All that work to find those things, and this graph that doesn't look like much of a graph there. Let's highlight that. So the purple guys right here are the graph. Alrighty, nice.